Guys often, and quite rightly, a lot of times will say how women don't want to grow up. Fair enough. But often it's hypocritical where you see the man, he's kind of stuck in the past. He's talking the same way he did 10 years ago. He's still at that pain point of when he was frustrated or hurt by women. He's like that old high school friend you bump into that talks about the good old days all the time, and he doesn't reflect on the memories. He pulls out the photo album and reads it word for word. You're not talking to a person who's got their own thoughts now. You're talking to a person frozen in time that's reciting lines. It's frustrating because a lot of people act like children where if I don't read them their favorite bedtime story, the way it's supposed to be read exactly, again and again and again, they get offended. And their responses are cliches. Women will say, I'm a woman hater. Men will say, I'm still holding out for a unicorn. People are almost acting like the algorithm, with a magnifying glass looking out for certain words and the way you say them and they jump on you. There's no context. My channel is about guys thinking clearer and better about their lives, realistic ways of seeing the world, and most importantly, talking and walking in a way that gives you confidence that you can handle almost any situation because of the mental and verbal efficacy you've got in knowing who you are and how to stand up for yourself with your words and your ethics and your yeses and your nos and all the things that guys love quoting from people and authors that are much smarter than them, and rightly so. But almost all of these authors that guys tend to quote are much braver towards their own happiness than a lot of these guys trying to live vicariously through the words and the life that the author of whose quote you admire had. He had the courage to actually try and practice what he believed. But many just want to stay in a childhood bubble of a fairy tale like, my bubble's good and everything else is bad. And there's no consideration of the grey area. The grey area in which life takes place. The grey area in which you live every day when you go to work and you buy your groceries and you do things like that. That's the grey area that no one wants to, relax and try and navigate and live in and make decisions through. No, it's this safe bubble where you've got complete control, where everything outside of you is bad, except for you. I want men to revisit their assumptions to see if they still believe what they used to believe, because sometimes we're just riding on something that worked or eased our anxiety or made some sort of sense 5, 10, 20 years ago. And it's comfortably familiar, but is it you anymore? And sometimes it's almost like you can't say to a guy, do you want to make sure that that shirt still fits you? It's like, no, they want to tear you apart for even suggesting you have a look. Do me a favor, subscribe. Thanks. As I get older, I have this real drive to keep feeling alive, and a lot of it often has to do with my thoughts. How curious am I? How inspired? How willful to, look over my assumptions, to write stuff down, to see what I'm about. It's not over yet. There are still things to do. There are still things to try. There are still things to work out. There's still a lot of good times to be had before the grave. And when I talk to some people, it's like they died 10 or 20 years ago and they're waiting like 40 or 50 years to be buried. And don't get me started on the petulant attitude of making themselves feel better by putting others down. I can't stand these kind of people because they don't appreciate it when they're being made to feel bad. It resembles something schoolgirls do all the time. They get joy out of seeing others in pain and inflicting pain. They get this giddy pleasure out of it. And I see more and more guys doing it. Put girls down, I feel better. It's like some sort of Freudian revenge on all the mothers who never loved you, in every girlfriend that's betrayed you or annoyed you or frustrated you, or it's still got revenge on you. It's still an anchor that you're dragging behind you. I get many guys never had mentors. We barely communicate. There's barely any male voices out in public. And many guys never even had a father. All you've had is a woman sort of pointing down at you, telling you you're awful. and the survival response is to fight to survive. I get it. But what are you winning? This whole giddy pleasure, men I think have learned from women the last couple of generations, is to now, oh yeah, they've been feeling good by making us feel bad. Take some of your own medicine. We're going to do it back to you. And so many guys have started to adopt women's character, doing the male version of what women did, punishing female piñatas. It's not about revenge on women. It's about your life and having better moments, happier moments, content moments, not frustrated moments where you're trying to sort of get back time that was lost, or not facing an embarrassment of how you should have acted. You know, the resentment of the cheerleader went out with the quarterback and not me. I'll get my revenge. I'll become the quarterback. What are you going to do? Become an old middle-aged guy who's in shape, who becomes the quarterback that all the cheerleaders wanted. And then you're going to go back and take the young cheerleader away from that young quarterback. What's wrong with you? Here's a question. Are all men the same? If we're sensible and conversations you have, guys will say, yeah, of course not. I'm different. My friends are different. Yeah, there's traits, male nature is the same pretty much among most guys, and it's expressed differently between guys, but we're all different. So yeah, you're different, but apparently all women are the same. And I'm not saying there are unicorns, but what I'm saying is that men acknowledge that women don't see the real them. No one's appreciating the individual man. You know, I'm here, but you just see me as a tool. You just see me as a guy that's the same as every other guy. You know, look at me, look at me, look at human. But if we can acknowledge that we're different, that difference that you realize in yourself, that you want people to see, that you want perhaps a lover to see, you know, see the real me. I'm not just like any other guy. I want you to see the subjective, individual me. That's what we're trying to connect with someone else. And all these guys who are saying all women are the same, and all these guys who are trying to make themselves into an alpha Chad, they're making themselves into every guy. You're a one-size-fits-all guy trying to find these one-size-fits-all women because you all agree that all women are the same. Therefore, we've got this world of all men and all women being exactly the same, and you each confirm it to each other. But no one's individualistically honest enough to just say, I don't care about all that BS. I'm just going to be myself. If she doesn't like it, she doesn't like it. I don't care. I'll be happy being on my own with my contented life. If you don't show the individual you, if you don't demand that the person be an individual and show the individual to you, and if they don't, fair enough. I don't need you in my life. Demand they show their individuality if they have any. If there's anything there, demand it be shown. And don't be afraid to show it yourself. And all the guys that say, well, human, you'll never get a girl that way. Again, good. Good. I do not want a woman like that. And I'm pretty sure most of you don't either. When all of us are going around trying to be this alpha Chad bro who's jacked and makes a lot of money and drives fast cars, that suit of armor that looks like every other insensitive person, as well as all the insensitive females that put on the same girl power suit of armor around them to protect themselves. You stop people having the courage to show who they are, or the ability to see the person to be loved, potentially. Like, how can you love this cold, strong, substanceless? They're a cardboard cutout. There's nothing to talk about with this empty person. By making ourselves into a high-value male and all women thinking of themselves as a high-value female, we're not really compatible individualistically with anyone. There's no one to connect with. There is no one to intimately connect with, and that is the whole point that we desire to be with people. That individual person that I get off the dating treadmill because of this person, because of their individual compatibility with my individuality. So to people who don't just want to talk about things in a different way, a respectful way, revisiting assumptions, maybe sharpening what you already know, doesn't mean you need to change your opinion. But I'm just tired of women and men coming on my channel, and because I won't read them the specific bedtime story they want to be read, word for word, and not reading this story exactly the way they want it read, they start throwing personal accusations at me, which I know is lowbrow, but it's frustrating when guys say there's not enough men helping them. And it's like you're trying to feed a dog and it keeps biting you. And just like many women out there, you stop even trying. Like, sorry to say, I don't have the time to waste on dogs biting me when all I'm trying to do is have a conversation, and maybe we can both learn something. Maybe we can make our lives better, but I don't care if you're married, what orientation you are, if you're male or female. If you talk civilly, anyone is welcome to talk and admit the truths that they may have learnt, and maybe other people can learn some humility and be honest with themselves. So yeah, just wanted to say that. Anyway, drop me a like, subscribe to the channel, and donate if you feel like it. I appreciate it, and I'll see you really soon, guys. Bye.